Welcome to the Thriving Solopreneur podcast. This is a space where we talk about human design, spirituality, and neuroscience, all applied to business and money. My purpose is to help struggling solopreneurs to run sustainable businesses, to become financially resilient, and to create powerful change within their communities and beyond. I am your host, Andrea Niño de Guzman, a numbers girl and neuro geek who left the corporate world to do what she does best, to catalyze transformations. I am thrilled and honored to have you here, and I really hope to serve you in the best way possible. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this new episode. Today, we're going to be talking about untethering and why this is something that we need to really start paying more attention to. I think urgently pay attention to why this is beneficial for all. Okay. And in order for me to share this, I want to start by sharing three stories, three case studies from clients who have worked with me in the past 6 months or so. Okay. Obviously, I've changed the names so that there is no reference, just to protect, their own journeys. But I've also asked for their permission to share this. Okay. So, and before I begin, I would like for you to pay attention to what I am sharing, to pay attention to the journeys and the struggles and the situation that these clients are in, and notice if anything that I'm sharing is something that you've experienced or are experiencing in your business right now. All right. So client number one, we're going to call her Anna. Anna is a mindset coach who is very new to the online space. She recently left her full-time job. This is something that she's been wanting to do for a really, really long time. She feels very passionate about coaching. And because she's so serious about her business, she decided to invest in a business program that could teach her the ropes. So she started with one program, then jumped into another. And at the end of the day, she's already invested in multiple business programs. She signed up for master classes and also one-on-one coaching, ranging from how to launch an offer, how to show up on social media, what type of content to create. She signed up for programs to help her with her messaging, with sales. So in short, she knows exactly what she needs to do. And right now she's in the process of launching her offer. But she is also struggling in that process because she's not being able to implement it consistently. She'll come up with an idea and then it's like one step forward, two steps back all the time. Okay. And whenever you ask her about it, she says that it's, with all the money that she's invested, she obviously knows the steps. She knows exactly what she needs to do, but there's something bigger than her that is just simply keeping her from fully taking action and from fully being consistent in this process. From fully posting or sharing. It's like something is blocking her and she doesn't know what it is. Okay. So that's case number one. Case number two is Jennifer. Jennifer is a business coach. She's an online business coach. She helps other coaches and solopreneurs build a successful business online. She's been doing this for many, many years. She's actually not just worked with solopreneurs, but she's actually worked with companies. So she has a great track record. She has a great following. She's had many success stories. She's been working one-on-one with her clients for quite some time, and she's in that process of migrating from one-on-one to group coaching. And recently, she launched an offer for a group program. And about a week before closing her cart, she just grew very disconnected from her business. She was exhausted, burnt out, and also all of a sudden like doubting herself, doubting her program, doubting the process, feeling very triggered by who am I to offer this? Is this going to be really interesting? How can I make sure that they have a transformation? My clients are going to feel that I'm a fraud. So all of a sudden, all her experience went out the window, and she just started questioning everything as if she was self-sabotaging herself, right? And she's also very stressed out because it's like there's a week. She was very stressed out because there's a week before closing her cart and she's not selling anymore because she's getting in the way of her own process and not trusting her process. So that's case number 2. Then we have Gwen. Gwen is a very, very talented hypnotist who is currently working full time, and she wants to quit her job so that she can focus on her practice and do that as her full time job. Her job is not related to hypnotism. And because she has to manage 2 things, plus she has family, and she has a lot of other responsibilities, she posts every now and then. She's actively trying to start her own practice. And actually, people love Gwen. She's very magnetic. Her posts always receive a lot of comments. A lot of people reply to her messages. They reply to her stories. There's a lot of connection because she just has this beautiful personality and this, natural way of connecting with people. The issue with Gwen is that she leaves all of her messages unanswered, and it'll be like weeks before she answers the message. So obviously, she gets a message, 2 weeks will go by, and she feels very guilty, and there's a lot of judgment as to why she's answering so late. And it's as if like she will gain momentum, then something will happen and she'll drop the ball and she'll disappear for a few weeks. And then she feels guilty because she's not focusing or investing time in her business, and she doesn't really feel connected with her full-time job. So then she'll go back again, gain full momentum. And then the moment that things are starting to pick up pace, something happens and she has to drop the ball. And it's been going on like this for several months now, where she's just not able to really follow up, even though she has people that are really interested in her services, that she has all the opportunities to grow her business. She's not able to follow up with everybody and to convert those people who are interested into actual paying clients. And at the same time, that's keeping her stuck in the job that she doesn't like. And then we have Angelina. Angelina is an energy healer who has built a steady business. She has, again, a great following. She has recurring clients. She's been in business for a really long time. She's had a lot of success with her programs, with her services. And recently, there's been a lot of shifts in her life, lots of changes, not just external changes, but personally as well. She's gone through significant, I guess you could call it up-leveling. And because of these inner changes, she feels called to offer something radically different and maybe even like burn everything down that she's created, all her successful signature programs. She's in that process of shifting direction or offering something that is different from what is easy to sell for her right now, or her cash cow. And what's happening with Angelina is that she's unsure of her steps, obviously, because part of this new calling implies her leaving this program that has, always given her a lot of money, and that's what she's known for. So she's also doubting herself. She's doubting this inner calling or inner pull, inner force that is kind of like taking her into a different direction, and she doesn't know what to do. So she's stuck, and she's been stuck for a really long time. And it's gotten to a point where, she's become resentful with her current offers and clients. She feels very disconnected. She's very curious and wants to explore this new area, but at the same time, she feels guilty of letting a successful business go. And what I've realized, and I've just given you 4 cases, but I know that what's happening with these 4 talented women is also happening to a huge amount of solopreneurs in the online space. It's happening to a bunch of spiritual entrepreneurs who are, these are people who are incredibly talented, who are very passionate about what they do, who have this deep desire to get out there and help others and make a positive impact in the world. There are people who are, have invested heavily in business programs, who know what they're supposed to do. And then, yet for some reason, there is something that keeps them from taking that next step. There is something that just gets in the way. And why? Why? And I had to stop and think, okay, why is this happening? Because it has happened to them. It has happened to many of my clients. It has happened to me. And why is it that in these situations, we, in a way, get in the way of our own growth, in our own momentum, in our own, in our own building? And it's because, that next step often carries a lot of fear, a lot of judgment, a lot of criticism. Failure also plays in the relationship that you might have with failure, or how you grew up thinking about failure. Sometimes that next step is very heavy, or feels very heavy with self-doubt, or thoughts of like, who am I to do this? I'm not ready. Nobody's going to pay attention to me, or I can't compare myself to a bunch of other successful or coaches out there. They have so many things and I'm so behind. Sometimes that next step is filled with a lot of pressure to succeed, to get it right, because a lot of, people are depending on you, whether it's your kids or your family, or it carries a lot of guilt. Maybe if you're not making enough money and your partner is the one who's supporting you, it carries a lot of guilt and pressure to, stand up for yourself and not depend on others. And the reason this happens isn't because you're doing anything wrong, and it goes way beyond, the how to do business. And it's not because there's something wrong with you. The reason this happens is because how you show up in your business is deeply influenced by your past, by your upbringing, by your beliefs, by the perception that you hold of yourself, by the inner dialogue that you are having with yourself on a daily basis, 24/7. And most of the business programs are amazing, but they don't really or adequately address this. So, for example, you might be creating an offer, and you might be not even create an offer, but you might be able to create offers very easily. Because the thing that's happening, and what I've noticed, is that, we have different areas in our business. Business is just a broad term. So you have your offers, you have your clients, you have your marketing strategy, you have your sales process, you have your inner processes, you have the financials, you have your team. There are different areas of within your business, and each of these areas triggers very specific memories, or very specific erroneous perceptions of yourself. Okay. And if you are a solopreneur and you're the one who's handling all of this, so you're the one that's doing the messaging and the operations and the tech work and the sales and the content creation, and you're creating the offers, and if you're doing everything, then it's very easy to get stuck in this cycle where you're constantly thinking that you're not enough, that you should be doing more, that you're failing in the process, that you need to reassess, that everybody else is going or moving at a faster pace than you are. So it's very easy to get stuck in this cycle of inadequacy, of overwhelm, of stress, of not enoughness, right? And when you do the work, it's not about doing the work as an umbrella of, we're going to change your mindset around business, or, we're going to regulate your nervous system around business. It's about addressing the specific aspects of your business that are actually triggering you. So maybe you're great at creating offers, but you really struggle with your messaging. And maybe that could be because in the past, you were always told to be quiet and agreeable. So now you struggle to speak up for what you truly believe. Or maybe you were able to connect, with your audience, like my client who does business coaching. but she struggles with the delivery of her offer because she's so afraid of selling and why, or of failing. And why is this? It's because she was raised in an environment where failure wasn't accepted. So if she failed, for her, it was like she was going to be out of her family. She wasn't going to be accepted. So she has this ingrained belief that her client's performance has a direct correlation to her worth. So if they succeed, if your client or if her clients succeed and don't succeed in her programs, it means that she's a failure. And if she's a failure, then she's going to be rejected by her family, right? And obviously, these are all subconscious beliefs and perceptions of herself. Maybe you could have a client who's great at messaging and offers, but hates selling, like my other client, because she who was avoiding opening up her or replying to her DMs because it wasn't because she was busy. The underlying issue with her was that she was afraid of rejection because she went through a period where that caused a lot of pain for her and she didn't want to repeat it. Or maybe you could struggle with selling and you go into these cycles of overselling and overcommitting because you want to feel accepted and then end up, really resenting your clients because this delivery of your offer is exhausting because you've promised so much, right? So I could go on with these multiple real life examples for hours and hours because a lot of people have these types of issues that aren't really being addressed. We go into these business programs thinking that if we just follow the rules, if we just follow the framework, if we just follow the steps, things are going to happen, that people are going to have success. And some people do, and it's great. But from my experience, most people don't. And the reason that they don't is because of that self-perception, that perception of self is because of those, not even like self-limiting beliefs. It's because of those stories, that inner dialogue that we constantly are telling ourselves that we're not good enough, that we're not ready, that we need more experience, that we can't compare. And it becomes even worse when you see other people having those big results. They're in the same program, they're implementing the same things as you are. And you start feeling like you're a failure. I mean, you have already invested money. You have access to the same resources. Why is it that it's working for them and not for you? And it's happened to me and it's happened to so many people that I've talked to. So that's the reason, and that's what inspired me to create Untethered Momentum, because this is bigger. This issue that I'm seeing is bigger than just a mindset problem. You don't just need a mindset coach. It even goes beyond hypnosis or nervous system regulation. Because at the end of the day, if you look at the core issue, it's about listening to what your soul wants. It's about finding that coherence between what your soul wants, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and what you're bringing forward in your actions. So that coherence between soul, mind, heart, and actions. It's about finding a way to bring that desire and that coherent desire into life and moving away from thinking one thing, feeling another, and doing a completely different thing because somebody else told you. And that's what I mean when we talk about doing business from the inside out versus doing business from the outside in, where you are doing things because somebody else is telling you how to do them or forcing it yourself, even if you don't like it, even if it doesn't feel aligned to do something, because if you do it, quote unquote, you'll be successful, right? So when I was in that process of connecting to this energy of untethered momentum, the image of a wild horse came up. And you're going to see it in many of my presentations. But the wild horse for me is that reference of, we need to allow ourselves to roam, be free, to roam free, to do as we please, to run our business, not dictated by rules of others, not dictated, by frameworks of others, where we just can connect and do business in a more compassionate way, where we're trusting ourselves, where we know we're going to be different. We know that we are never going to be the same as somebody else, but we are unique. And just because, and we're unique, and we are here to make an impact. And we can also make an impact by being ourselves, by speaking up, by showing up authentically, by being courageous to make decisions, even if everybody else thinks that they're crazy and they don't make sense, by showing up in our full essence, in the full essence of who we are. and not by adopting identities of who we should be, but by connecting to the full essence or the true essence of who we are. And I find this incredibly fascinating. I'm so passionate about this because this is what we need. We don't need to adopt new identities. We need to connect back to our true essence of who we are. And this is something that I talked about on an Instagram live of what is the essence? What is your true essence of who you are, and connecting back to that. So it's about doing business not by adopting my identity, into something that isn't new, or by trying to behave in a way that I am not. But it's by finally doing business from a state where we can feel free, we can feel safe, we can feel light, where we're excited about what we're doing, where we feel connected to our purpose, to our mission, to the change that we want to bring about, and where there is coherence between what our soul, our mind, our heart, and our actions are doing. And there is no worry about doing things wrong. There is no fear about things not working out. There is no judgment about what we're doing. There is and there is no thing that is currently, keeping us from taking action. That thing is finally gone. And for me, if we could talk about the biggest result or the end result of Untether Momentum, is doing business from a state where you no longer feel that thing that is blocking you, and that thing, like, you don't even know what that thing is, but it's like this wall, that invisible wall that is keeping you from taking action, that is keeping you from having success, that is keeping you from fully showing up, that is keeping you from doing business or in a way that feels aligned to you, and that keeps you in the state of not enoughness, keeps you in the state of guilt or shame, or thinking that you're not doing enough, right? So it's about getting rid of all of that so that you can be free like that wild horse. And I'm so, so excited about this because, and I'm doing this from this deep place of passion, because this is what I was looking when I was starting my own business. I was reflecting, where, what my journey has been like since I've been on the online space. I've been online for almost 4 years now, full time. And it's been quite a journey with a lot of highs and a lot of lows. But when I started, I didn't even know, I was so unsure of my talents. It didn't matter if I had 15 years of business experience, if I was a business major, if I was an economics major, if I had a master's in finance. It didn't matter that I was a CFO at a very big with food manufacturer. None of that mattered. All I kept on thinking is, I'm not enough. I need to learn more. I need to do more. I'm not enough. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. And then once I acquired new skills and invested way too much money in different certifications, I was still, that fear was not gone, but it was just translated into, okay, I'm not sure of what I'm posting. I should follow others. So I was somebody who was afraid of posting. I was somebody who dreaded following up, just like my client. I left so many messages unanswered. Even like I had people reaching out to me and saying, hey, I want to work with you, or I want to hire you. And I would take weeks to reply to those messages. And, something that I'm not very proud of, but just so that you can grasp the intensity of my feelings of not worthiness, it took me a year to collect payment from a client. And this was a corporate client. They had to actually call me repeatedly for me to go to their office and pick up their check, to cash that check, because I didn't feel worthy of receiving that kind of money. It was the first time that I was receiving so much money for something that I grew up, or that, my family and my surroundings would tell me, like, nobody's going to hire you, nobody's going to pay for what you do. So there was this deep sense of unworthiness. And when this bank hired me to do, to run a series of workshops for them and their team and their high leadership team, it literally took me a year to cash that check because I didn't feel worthy. That's how bad it was when I started, because I felt so much shame. I felt so much guilt about how I handled my money in the past. So I felt unworthy. I felt unworthy because I didn't feel like I had anything interesting to give. And what I tried, or how I tried to fix this at that time, was through a lot of traditional coaching. I tried hypnosis, I tried energy work, I've tried multiple modalities, multiple modalities. I've invested heavily in my personal development, and some things would help, but I still felt this wall that I'm describing, like this thing that would keep me from taking action, that I just didn't know where it came from. And it wasn't until I started working with this framework, which is the foundation of Untethered Momentum, that I was finally able to get to the origin of why it is that I was behaving this way, why it is that I was avoiding following up with people or selling or posting or being inconsistent with many aspects of my business. It wasn't until that I got to the origin that I was finally able to show up from a place of not feeling guilty, of a place of no shame, a place of even also no worry, but with a lot of surrender and trust in myself, trust in my guides, trust in God or in the universe, trust that I am walking at my own path, and that I am no longer, and for me to be in the situation where I'm no longer comparing myself to others. We're no longer worried about what they are doing, but I'm really following just my own path in the way that feels good for me right now. And I'm in that process of gathering or achieving that coherence between what my mind is saying, what my heart is saying, my actions are saying, and aligning that to the guidance that I'm receiving from my guides and my spirits. So it's been a process, and I wish that I would have had access to that much earlier, because it would have saved me a lot of not just time, money, but I think a lot of pain for my family, because I was under a lot of uncertainty in this process. And I would love it if we could see more people on this journey of untethering, on this journey, so that they can start doing business in a way that feels true to them, in a way that feels aligned to them, where they're no longer worried about, what's wrong with me? Why isn't it happening to me? What am I doing wrong? But rather, we're in a place where they feel very grounded and secure about who they are, about their essence, and about and feel very, very safe to express themselves authentically. So that's the reason why I created Untethered Momentum. This is, I feel, is going to be my life's work. I feel very, very passionate about this, because I don't see this in the online space. The way that I approach it, based on, and the way that I've built this based on my own life experience and the experience of, tens of, I would say, like, even hundreds of people that I've connected with and worked with over the course of these years, and the experiences that they've had with building their business. It's thanks to that I've created this solid framework. So I'm officially opening the doors to this one-on-one program that is very high touch, but is also fairly priced with a sliding scale. So you have, um, different pricing based on where you're at financially speaking, so that we can be as inclusive as possible. And if you relate to what I've shared, please feel free to DM me and send me a DM on Instagram. I'm over at andrea.transformationcatalyst. Even if you're just interested about the framework, let's talk about it. I'm love to share the framework. I'd love to share the journey with you. And if you know of anybody who is also struggling, maybe somebody who's enrolled in a business program and frustrated with their results, if somebody who's is working online and thinking about scaling their business, but they're afraid, or they're afraid to take that step back, or they see themselves like they're holding back, this is perfect for them. Or if they're actually thinking about starting an online business and they're holding back, again, it's a great program for them. This is also a program for somebody who feels called to start doing business differently. than what they've learned in the traditional coaching space, maybe who feel like they've taken a step back because they don't like the surroundings and they want to connect to the true essence of who they are and do business from that place. This is also a great program. Or if they're also going through a lot of life changes and navigating through a lot of uncertainty and adversity and just need that support, Untether Momentum is also great for them. So the possibilities are endless. The results that you can get from finally untethering are also endless. And I know that there's a lot of potential, not just because it's my program, but I also know that this work can be that ripple effect, because as we change, as we start connecting back to the essence of who we are, then we inspire other people to do the same. And if my work can impact yours, and then you with your work can impact thousands of people because I can see that in you, then why not give it a try? Why not join forces? Why not combine? And even if you are a business coach right now and you're thinking, okay, how can I help my clients be that life force of change? Then maybe we could collaborate. I'm always open to these new opportunities. But again, I'm not doing this just for me, but I feel like this is what the industry needs right now. This is the missing piece of that, that nobody has been addressing right now. And I really, really hope to be of service and to be part of that ripple effect and be part of, influence the creation of multiple ripple effects of positive change for you, for me, for everybody, and for our highest good. Okay. So, my DMs are open for any questions. And if you want to meet, collaborate, if you want to refer me to somebody, or if you are curious about learning more about how, if this type of work applies to you, let's have that conversation. Okay. I love you all. I wish you have an amazing start of the week, and I will catch you next week with another episode. Take care, everyone.